Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia said although various categories of violent crime have declined, overall levels remain unacceptably high. He released the latest quarterly crime statistics yesterday, emphasizing the need to reinvigorate community policing. He's convinced this will strengthen policing efforts. Here's a detailed report into these figures.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia welcomed the drop in murders recorded in the last 3 months of 2025. Kachalia says this signifies that the men and women in blue are making progress in their attempt to keep South Africans safe.
After more than a decade of annual increases, murder, our most accurate crime stat, started decreasing on the first quarter of 2023 to 4. This trend has continued throughout this year and this quarter, showing a 8.7 decrease or 602 fewer lives lost. This means that over the last 2 years, the numbers of murders for quarter 3 period, that is the 1st of October to the 31st of December, has dropped by a significant figure, 17.6%, or 1,359 fewer murders.
But despite the gains, Kachalia warns that crime levels, including the infiltration of drug cartels, remain out of control.
We've also become very vulnerable for drugs that are coming from parts of Latin America, but they are also coming from the east coast of Africa through Mozambique, Tanzania, and so forth. And because we are a democratic society with open institutions, a developed financial sector, relatively porous borders, we are vulnerable.
At the same time, the spike in organized robberies remains a headache for the police.
We have unfortunately recorded an increase in terms of robberies of cash in transit, that is 8 counts more, and 4 provinces have recorded increases in terms of the cash in transit, that is the Eastern Cape 5 counts, Gauteng 13 counts, Northwest 4 counts, and the Western Cape 4 counts.
With 23 police officers being murdered during the quarter, senior SAPS management says it has improved its training programs to ensure members are able to defend themselves.
We do continually take our members for refresher training, because the first thing is the policeman or woman must be able to defend himself when attacked, be it physically, unarmed or armed, depending whatever type of attack he needs to thwart away.
With more boots on the ground following the deployment of the SANDF, Kachalia is confident that the police will succeed in combating crime.
Let's get reaction to these crime statistics now with Gauteng Community Policing Board Executive Chairperson TJ Masilela. Good morning. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. First and foremost, let's just jump straight into it. Sandu represents the men and women who, the Acting Minister of Police says murder has decreased by 8.7%. Let's start here this quarter. But 5,940 people were still killed in just 3 months. So are we actually seeing real progress, or would you say that we're just normalizing mass death?
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaba. Looks like we taking 5 steps front and then 7 steps back, because we remain a violent society, and that is a fact. And the availability and the usage of firearms is actually a contributor, or the highest contributor into these matters. Any murder or one murder is too many. But having said that, we just have to find a way, because we remain a very violent society, and these crime stats, especially on the murder and attempted murder, shows that we and even the GBH assault GBH shows that actually we are not settling our affairs peacefully. We are very quick to use there. So these stats are showing a going down, but also going very up, which means we actually not moving as we would have liked to move, and
So,
conviction thereof.
sure. So as someone who's been working in community safety for years and the voice of community policing forums across the country, what are the people on the ground in the townships and in the informal settlements actually saying about these stats? Do they feel the decrease?
People on the ground, basically, sometimes I think it's a question of breaking down into locality and so forth. But it 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 it, it remains, people remain very afraid to do their business and hoping that nothing will happen. So the anxiety levels, especially in the community policing relations, it's always there, and I think it affects also the performance of some of the I'm talking about the layman on the street. You are at the situation whereby certain areas, obviously certain provinces, you are aware that you might be attacked, or you might find yourself in a situation where you'll have to defend yourself, or you will have to run for your life. So I'm not exaggerating this. I'm basing this on talking to the people on the ground. If you look at the Atteridgeville matter, you're looking at the Beckersdal shootings and many other attempts, you will then understand that it's not business as usual.
Now with TJ, with liquor outlets repeatedly linked to violent crimes, why are we not seeing stricter enforcement?
There's so many things that in the liquor space that are not done properly. I think institutions like Gauteng Liquor Board, with their new liquor wardens now that they're implementing, and I hope the country and other provinces will also have similar efforts. I know Mpumalanga has also had some wardens. The acting minister is talking about the community policing innovations and fast tracking, and also empowering, because the liquor outlets have become a hotspot. Any liquor outlet, whether it's in the high suburb, or whether it's in the informal settlement, or whether it's in a middle even township, it remains a target hotspot, whether for hijackings, whether for now recently for shootings and so forth. But are the liquor boards and the liquor sellers making efforts? Before, you used to have a lot of security inside the outlet and outside the outlet. When you come into the outlet, before you can come in, basically you are searched and checked and so forth. That is not what is happening now. And there were security outside the outlets. So that is not happening. And I think that makes these areas vulnerable, and that make these areas become hotspots of violent acts of crime and
Sure.
criminality.
Now, despite destroying over 13,000 firearms recently, illegal firearms continue circulating. Is the state truly winning the battle against illegal firearms?
To some extent, yes, they are. If you're looking at the numbers, but if you're destroying 13,000, you must know there's another 13,000 out there that has not been. So it means the doubling of trying to get each and every illegal firearm out there. It's so important. But you're going to have a problem if you are not stopping the supply of these firearms coming to the country. And we are looking at these commissions that are taking place now, and we actually wonder whether the top level of justice and policing are actually serious about these crime levels that we are having, because you have heard that some of the supply of these firearms sometimes comes from the law enforcement, or assisted by the law enforcement agencies. It can't be right. So you need to cut the supply at some point. You can't have so many. If it's 13,000 that you have managed to successfully recover, you must double up and know that this 13,000, there's possible another 13,000 or more, let's say, that you need to try by all means and cover and recover those and so forth. But we've been saying this for some time, that the firearms are so easily available. Illegal firearms, they are so easy available compared to licensed firearms.
Sure. Now, I'd like us, TJ, to zoom into slide 11 and 12, which speak to provincial ratios and distribution, right? So Limpopo and the Northern Cape recorded increases, while others declined. What went wrong in those provinces?
It's actually worrying because Northern Cape normally will be the least. They'll be having other crimes like the GPV and other domestic violence, possibly related to the liquor consumptions and substance abuse. I'm actually wondering what could have happened all of a sudden, but it has to do with I think with the illicit mining, and obviously that we have not successfully dealt with, and maybe now that you're having the deployment, you might be able of this SNDF, you might be able to address and obviously cut some of the supply, but also the roadblocks and stops and search that will take place during this deployment will also assist maybe to catch the most wanted criminals that operate in the network. We need to dismantle this network if we're really serious. And we have shown that we have a capability and a capacity to do that. So it's this political will that the acting minister is talking about now. Hopefully it will help us, because I guess he's the first acting minister or minister that has emphasize the community policing, because the eyes and ears and the community intelligence is there and available.
Right. Now I'd like us to expand on that. In provinces like the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, the decreases in murder were smaller, and the acting minister himself described gang violence in those provinces as worrisomely high. Now, are we losing control of gang-dominated areas?
Definitely. That's why you even have now the deployment of SNDF both in Eastern Cape and Western Cape. You know, if you deal with the gang violence, these two provinces will be a paradise, because most of the criminals or crimes that are being committed related to the gang violence and gangs, and that if you would arrest that and put an end to that, or minimize that in such an extent that you will have lesser levels of gangs, or get rid of many of these gangs, cartels and gangs network, you will have beautiful provinces of the Eastern Cape and Western Cape, and it, like I said, it would be a paradise to be there.
Now, looking beyond gangs, are we seeing a broader pattern of murders driven by organized crime syndicates, extortion rackets, and you mentioned also illegal mining operations, spreading their reach across the country?
I see extortions, crime, and acts of criminality going a little bit down in the areas of KZN, obviously in Gauteng, which is good. But we still have a bigger problems across. Obviously, Gauteng will always lead in numbers because of the volume, and obviously of the numbers. But there is a possibility to see some difference in the next quarter. Hopefully, in the next quarter, because you would have deployed added most needed SNDF. I know people are saying that yeah, but the soldiers are not for, but desperate measures need desperate actions.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, TJ.